Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Phil Brown. I'm with NextGen Cam, and today I'm going to go over a quick overview of how you can use Fusion 360 to quickly create quotes for your quoting process inside your shops. So right up the get-go, we could jump straight into a bushing like so, and I can actually start by creating my setup. As you can see, Fusion automatically recognized my Z to the right, which works out perfect. My X, technically where my tools are going to come in, can sit right there as well. And then I can actually adjust my stock size if I wanted to outside of that to help with my quoting process. So once I have my XYZ position set, is a little help with your machinist out there, we can actually create a template. And your template is basically the ability to go in and quickly regenerate these tool paths to get exactly what you might want, or something at least close to give you a time study off. So as you can see I'm doing here is I can come in and I can do my outside roughing as well as my OD part or my part off toolpath, and that will allow me to go in and utilize I'm going to do what I need to do. So again, is maybe I used the wrong toolpath there and I actually need my part off, not my grooving operation. And now we can have that part off put inside there, and I can go in and grab my machine time. And as you can see, roughly 1.5 minutes to make that part. Maybe you don't have those rapids on your machine. You could always turn this rapids down, as well as you can actually even adjust your feed scale to get it a little closer to what your machine or your quoting might be. So again, we went from 1.5 minutes to about 1:40 minutes for a cycle time to create one of these, and now I can multiply that by the quantity for my customer. Again, jumping right into another part here, we could create that setup. I'm going to go ahead and maybe make my stock size a little bigger, 3.0. And as you see, we have our stock size to work with. So as you're going to see me do a few more times throughout this video, we're going to go ahead and go in and I'm going to say my 2-axis lathe roughing. I might want to bring in from there my actual part off tool path, or in this case, let's go ahead and use that OD grooving cycle. So again, now we're finding that area that we have left in our part. And then lastly, we could do our part off. So again, based on my part and my size, we get different times, different studies going, but this will quickly and more accurately get me a quote out to my customer for manufacturing these parts. So go again, moving into more of a mill environment versus a lathe environment, same rules kind of apply at the end of the day. I can go ahead and set up my stock size. As you can see, we have stock that's relatively close in our X and Y. We could always bump that up a little bit if need be, also in our Z. And now I can go through and again, we can utilize those templates to do whatever it is that we plan to do. In this case, I have a 3X mill toolpath. And what that's going to do is bring through a pretty rough strategy to achieve what I would want to do most days. So again, we can face off our part, we can adaptive clear it out, do some horizontal to clean up our flats, or the new flat toolpath inside of Fusion. And then lastly, a little contour work to work on the outside. My main goal here is to quickly get times so that I can get more accurate and more efficient quotes going to make the company more money. Again, as you can see, that's nothing more than a copy and paste. We went from mill. We can now go back to lathe on another part. As you can see here, here's an example of that Z-axis being the wrong way. Click my little checkbox here to flip my Z-axis, and we're oriented the right way. Same thing again, as we could say 6-inch stock, maybe it's 4 inches long. And with that, we could start to create our tool paths all over again. So again, we use that create from template. We're going to go and use our 2-axis lathe rough finish, and I can regenerate those. And now you're going to see that tool path for the outside of my part. Again, I could circle back. I could always add in that part off tool path. Or in some cases, I could even create a new setup with my Z the opposite direction. And then I could proceed from my setup stock. So it's kind of nice to see how Fusion will actually carry things through and allow you to, again, go in with those different tool paths, just maybe a simple lathe face program, and now rough out that excess material on the back of my part. Again, this just allows me to quickly pull in my machine time to actually generate that tool path. So again, you have that built into Fusion. at the end of the day. And that will allow you to actually create those machine times for a more accurate, more efficient quote. But it doesn't just stop at just mill and lathe. We can actually do the same concept for something like cutting out on a laser, a plasma, or a water jet. Again, I'm just saying a cutting toolpath, picking my top surface, and then Fusion, you can have set up your different laser cutters as well as different laser materials. Again, giving you that cycle time, in this case, 26 seconds to cut this one out. I can multiply that as many or as few as I need to achieve that task at the end of the day.